So we're at the end of Module 2, and we're going to do a quick wrap up before we get into the introduction to Module 3. So
You've
we're
done a
at the
lot of
end of
work in the
Module 2,
collaboration and
and we're going to do
discussion
a quick
forum.
wrap up before
You
we get
used
into the
AI as a
introduction to
tool to
Module
help
3
plan
instruction and to explore what kind of activities you could do at different levels on the SAM-R model with your learners. I just wanted to pose some questions um, to gather how the resource worked for you, how this AI tool worked for you. What criteria and constraints did you put in the request as you were looking for activities and technologies to use for specific lessons? Were you pleased with the suggestions for lesson ideas or technologies that the AI bot provided? Did you have to add any additional information into the chat to get a more targeted response? And how much did you have to edit or adjust the activities that were generated by the AI to meet the needs of your learners or to achieve your learning goals? Some of the highlights from the activities you shared on your SAM-R model were that I noticed that every level for every class had a technology tool or resource used. That's a big one. People tend to struggle with how to find a resource or technology that they can use in their classroom, and you guys demonstrated that it's possible and you can do it with um, a good level of engagement for your learners. However, I did notice, and I wonder if you noticed the same thing, that the activities and the redefinition level provides more opportunity for learners to collaborate. That was part of your lessons. For them to use their creativity and problem solving skills, and also for them to share their learning with others, which makes it more engaging and pushes the activity and their skills higher up on Bloom's taxonomy. So, some tips for instructing learners to use to engineer a response in an AI program. So when I first used it, I just put in a question and got an answer, but it wasn't always the answer I wanted or helped me to achieve my goal. So one thing we want to help learners do is to be specific. So here's an example. The original question is, what animals live in a desert? A better question is list 5 mammals that live in the Sahara Desert. Another tip is to provide content into the request in the chatbot. So the original request is I have to do a science project about desert animals. A better one to help get a better response is my 4th grade science teacher asked us to create a poster about the desert ecosystem. What makes a good poster? The the AI program would generate some content that is more targeted and will help learners create a poster or whatever end product you would like for them to turn in. And the third tip to have learners or instruct learners to do is to ask for sources or references. So I just gave one example here. List 5 research resources that will give information and pictures of mammals in the Sahara Desert. And the bot was really good. This AI program, I used Chat GPT for this one, was very specific in giving some responses. So moving on to Module 3, the introduction. And for the next 2 weeks, we're going to look at specific learning groups. And we're going to discuss how technology impacts their learning. And we're also going to look at some of the laws designed to protect learners, especially using online digital tools, websites. Um, Then, as a team, you're going to work in groups. You're going to identify technologies for specific health conditions and impairments. And this isn't just digital tools, but you're going to dig back into our module one, where we talked about the definition of technology. And we're going to look at some of the big T and little t tools and resources that will help learners navigate their environment, have access to education, to be able to share what they learned and interact with others. One last thing is to remember participation is important in this course. It may be a little challenge because it's an asynchronous course, but many groups have been successful in reaching out and collaborating together. You're graded for each module for your participation with others in the class. In-text citation is an expectation and should be used as often as possible. You should use it throughout the discussion and collaboration forum, and it should also be used in your assignments.